This is the Walrus Audio Fable, and it's a granular soundscape generator. And this pedal can get some very interesting sounds, very ambient stuff you can do with this pedal. And I'm going to go through the controls and looking at the manual here because these controls are pretty intricate. And so we have 2 foot switches, and then we have the 8 knobs here, and it's a mono pedal, top jacks in and out, and power, 9-volt standard. So there's 5 different programs here that we can select. We were in program 5 in the intro, and that was the delay into randomized pitch granular. And granular means that it's taking the delay signal and then chopping it up and using those bits, regenerating them and pitching them and turning them into a different time signature as well, so we can kind of manipulate that. So that's how this pedal works. It has a nice kind of a feedback loop between 2 different processors, and I don't fully understand it all, but I can hear what it's doing and it sounds really cool. So let's go through the controls. We have the feedback knob here. Now the manual says controls the amount of gain in the first feedback path. So that pretty much will intensify the feedback in the first feedback path. And then regen controls the amount of gain in the second feedback path. So with these 2, we can kind of play around with those 2 different feedback paths. And so the mod knob here controls the amount of modulation applied to the wet signal. And besides just the amount of modulation, we can hold down on the bypass foot switch, and we can adjust the modulation rate as well. Then we have the mix knob here, just going to the left, fully dry, and then as we blend in to the right, we're going to blend in our wet signal, and all the way up is fully wet signal. So you'll just hear all those repeats and delays and the granular stuff. This is really important because this pedal would not be as powerful if we couldn't go fully wet. So that's a really good option there. All right, so now we have the X knob, and this is kind of different for whatever program we're in, but the manual says the X knob controls grain size, chopped sample length of the granular effects. Turn left for a long, smooth sampling, and turn right for short, choppy grains. On program 5, which is all the way to the right, on this knob here, program 5, this will also affect the rate at which the pitch shift changes in the granular process. All right, so then we have the time knob here, controls the delay time and the granular buffer size, so length of the buffer from which grains are sampled. And we can also tap as well. This corresponds with the time knob as well. And then we have the tone, controls filtering of the output signal and feedback loops. A synth style low pass filter on the output sweeps the full frequency spectrum from deep underwater lows to light high frequency roll off with slight resonance added for an extra satisfying control response. At the top of the control range, subtle high pass filter is introduced into the feedback path, great for dialing glassy repeats and breathy ambient clouds. All right, so we are going to explore the tone knob for sure. And then this is our program select. So we have 5 programs. Program 1 is going to be reverse delay into reverse granular. 2 is forward delay into octave up granular. 3 is analog delay into octave down granular. 4 is multi-tap granular into multi-tap granular. Grain verb. Okay, and then 5 is forward delay into randomized pitch granular. And let's start with program 1. So on the bottom we have 2 foot switches. The bypass foot switch engages and disengages the effect, and we can set this pedal to be true bypass, where it'll cut off all the effects when we turn it off. Right now it's set to buffered bypass, which it lets the sounds trail, which is really nice. We can set that to either true bypass or trails. And then on the tap here, The manual says the tap controls the time knob parameters. So this works together with the time knob. For programs 1, 2, 3, and 5, the the tap tempo controls the delay time and size of the granular buffer, both set to tapped rate. And program 4 here is going to be the time knob, and the tap is going to control the time stretching of the multi-tap granular programs. And then when we hold the tap tempo, we can do a dive or a rise, and I'll demonstrate that while playing through the sounds. So pretty much when we hold this foot switch, it will rise when it's lit green. We press the bypass and the tap together. It's blinking blue. We're going to be going into a dive when we hold the foot switch down. So it's going to kind of either rise and hold it there, or it's going to dive and hold it there, and then when we let go, it goes back to normal operation. And let's dive in, twist the knobs, hear what kind of sounds we can get. I'm playing on the Strat, going into my daily driver overdrive pedal, getting kind of subtle drive from there, and then going into the Fable and into my Vox AC30.